Hi, and welcome to Not Another Repaint video. I'm Hannah from Hoodles, and this time I'm making a familiar for Mara. Thank you so much for the support on that video, it got so many lovely comments which made my week. I loved making her, it was like reading a favorite book and then you finish it and ponder what to do with the rest of your life. Thankfully I have too many ideas and too little time anyway, so I jumped on to the next project. Mara's familiar's name is Natt. These are silicone sculpting tools, super handy and pleasant to work with. I was thinking of attaching the eye lower, but it didn't work in my opinion, so an eye in the forehead it is. Then I added some prosthetic eyeballs before sculpting the eyelids. As usual, I use Living Doll clay by Super Sculpey. Talking about books earlier, I don't read a lot nowadays, that part of me died when I wrote my thesis. Instead, I dive into audiobooks and it's rather fun actually, but while editing this I remember exactly what was said in Anna Karenina. I love the book, love the movie. With that being said, my next custom is actually inspired by my absolute favorite book of all time. It's gonna be interesting. Here I'm adding cheek implants and make them rounder and cuter. Then I made some horns. I've never tried it before, so it was a bit of an experiment, but they turned out good. To give them some texture, I used my X-Acto knife and make some lines. The eyelids were too chunky, so that had to be fixed. Then, as usual, I create some texture with a toothpick. It would be cool to sculpt fur one of these days, but I'm not sure I can pull it off. Finally, I cut a bit in the eye. This is hard to watch, I'll admit. It hurts. Next are arms and legs. I wanted her to hold something. At the time, I didn't have any concrete plan for what, but I bent the arms ends anyway. The legs were made for her laying down, hence the shape, then I made the ends into tiny paws. Next time I'll definitely spend extra care making little toe beans, that would be so cute. To give her scales to match Mara's dragon tattoo a bit, I used a hole punch. Well, that went better than expected. Then I did the same thing to the legs. The parts are finished and they're ready for baking. I switched it up a bit and used a different kind of fabric. This one reminds me of my colleague's poodle, it's so soft. To make the body, I started with 2 instead of 4 of these patterns. I cut them out, sew the darts and then sew them together along one edge. I read somewhere that cutting the fur where they're supposed to be sewn is helpful. I'll definitely try that next time because it wasn't easy. Here's the result anyway. Then I had to figure out how to make the rest of the body. As I've mentioned, she's supposed to be lying on her back, so I wanted a flat surface, and this egg shape is what I came up with. There we go! I attached it to the front part, and after trimming away the excess I thought I needed, it worked like a charm. I'm not proud of the seams, but they won't show anyway, thankfully. Now I have another version of the pattern, sweet! I made the back of the head out of a circle, sewed it into an awkward bathing cap and filled it with stuffing. Finally, I made the ears. Here you can see that fur is sticking out on the edges, which is not good. I should have pushed the hair inside before sewing, if that makes sense. Now the pieces are all done. The headpiece, arms and legs are lightly sanded before they arrive at the airbrush station. This is leftover paint from Mara, so I added some thinner medium and started painting with it before I went in with more magenta. Then I messed up, big time. Oops. Finally, I sprayed with a layer of Liquitex matte varnish. Matching tattoos are a thing. I gave her some that resembled Mara's, chrysanthemum and those black patterns. Sometimes I add blue to my red to darken it, sometimes I add green. It depends on my mood. Look at these tiny paws! I painted the horns first with black and then added some dry brushed silver. I'll add horns in future familiars, definitely. It looks so cute. Then I brushed some Coliro paints on the arms and legs. I used the mermaid one, which was super interesting. I can't pinpoint its color. Purple-ish with some green-ish in it? I say it with a question mark because I have no idea. Super pretty though? Then I changed to the red one for the eye. Finally, I add Tamiya gloss varnish. Time to scrape off the paint! I mentioned it in a comment before, but I think it's easy because I add a layer of matte varnish. If you don't paint the eye with glue before airbrushing, it works just as well. The faceplate is finished. Time to attach it to the back of the head. The back needs some stitching since I left it open for the stuffing. Then I add some beard, or is it chest hair? Fluff? I don't know. I'm going to call it a beard. Then I attached the head to the body. I've wanted to make these heads turnable from the start, so I've ordered those plates things. I have no idea how to use them. If anyone knows of any tutorial, please let me know. I add the ears and take care of the position. Since she is lying down, I need to angle them a little bit differently. The head was slightly too much backward, so I used the beard to angle it more forward. Oops. Time for some arms and legs. To attach the needle, I make a stitch and run the needle through the hoop. This creates a little knot, and I do it twice to be sure it's secure. I want the ears to be closer to the body, so I make a stitch below where they are attached. Finally, I decided on a little jar of gold for her to hold. Lastly, I added some of the same glitter glue that I used on Mara's pants. And now she's finished. I've named the familiar Natt, which means night in Swedish. The lousy name tradition continues. I didn't manage to make another YouTube giveaway one. My job has been draining and we're in a challenging situation, both students and school staff. Next week, however, we're having a winter holiday. It is a much needed week of rest. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank my Patreons. I hope you like this little familiar. As usual, I put it up on Patreon, this time 48 hours from publishing this video, with a question to answer. The first one to answer correctly wins her. Since I have extra time next week, I think I'll work on sharing my sewing patterns. I'll share the triangle pants, the waistcoat, a high waist skirt, the familiar pattern, and now the modified laying down familiar pattern. I'm going to share them openly on my Patreon because that seems to be the best platform right now for those things. It's going to be a bunch of trial and error, so feedback is very much appreciated. Anyway, let me introduce Mara's familiar Natt. I have a feeling it's going to be hard parting from her. I know, however, that she's going to a good home of one of my Patreons. I think I covered up the airbrush mistake pretty well, by the way. Thank you so much for watching. Next weekend I'll share another repaint video. Until then, bye!